Hello and welcome to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is LFCC Day here on the show, and I haven't pre-recorded today's conversation over Zoom, but I did pre-record it several months ago at Lord Fairfax Community College as part of our new podcast series in partnership with the school. So today's conversation is part of that podcast series. It's just one of over 24 podcast conversations. In the series, we take a walk down memory lane with several current and former professors. We talk with current students and graduates about how and why they chose the college to pursue a higher education. Today's episode is a conversation with Judy Rinker. She was a member of the first graduating class of Lord Fairfax Community College and has some amazing stories. Have a listen. Judy, I understand that you are an alumni of the very first class that graduated here from Lord Fairfax Community College. How did that happen?
Dr. McCoy came to the high schools. He and maybe one other person just, can I meet with the high school seniors? We go into the gym, and they said, this is Dr. William H. McCoy, the president of Lord Fairfax Community College, which is not there yet, but it's going to be there next September, and he wants to talk to you. And he just stood up and just started talking to us about the community college. It was close to the end. He wasn't there maybe 30 minutes. And then he looked at me, which at that time I had very, very bright red hair. I mean, really bright red hair and really long. And I was on the second row. I can just picture him standing there right now. And he says, you with the red hair, you're going to come to Lord Fairfax, aren't you? And I just looked at him and said, sure.
Had you ever thought about college? Was that even on your radar at the time?
It was not on my radar because I'm a first-generation college graduate, even though it was two-year college. My parents could not have afforded it. I was planning to do what my sister did, get my business classes at the high school and get a job like she did. She went to the city and started working for the FBI as a secretary. And so I was taking shorthand and typing and all those things. But my guidance counselor called me into the office and said, Judy, you know, you really should consider the community college. Get 2 more years. And I said, okay, I can live at home and drive there and maybe get a part-time job. And so that's how it happened.
So what was it like that first day? Because this would have been a brand new building. It was here on Middletown campus where we're recording today, but obviously it wasn't just that small group of you. There were lots of other students.
There were lots, but the college was not finished. I guarantee you, if it was today, the building code would not have allowed anybody in. I mean, we walked on planks. There was no sidewalks. There was no windows out front. There was no windows here. There was plastic hanging. The classrooms had desks from middle schools and elementary schools that they had thrown out. We didn't have chalkboards. We didn't have clocks. We didn't have pencil sharpeners. The rooms just looked like bare walls.
Wow.
It all happened around us over the next 2 years.
So you literally transformed as a college student as the college itself was transforming into an actual college.
Exactly. We had registered down at the motel because there was no offices in here ready, and they registered down at the motel. We went into rooms down there, met with counselors and filled out forms and picked up books. And then we'd drive past here and just hope that it was going to be open that next September 1970. But everybody was so excited. Everybody was so happy. All the employees were like, it's going to be there. Your classroom's going to be there. I guarantee you next September you're going to have classes. It doesn't look like it now. So during those 2 years then of the first students that came here, we formed everything. There was no student government. There was
all the clubs and all the organizations all started with you guys as that core group.
Yep. And the president and the student, the dean, back then they were the dean of student services, was determined to try and have everything that the students would have wanted at any college. But funds were tight. It's a new college, and we were on the quarter system. So I paid $75 a quarter to come to school.
See, this was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you about what your tuition costs were. What year was this?
1970. Fall of 1970, so we had 3 quarters, and I worked that summer between my high school graduation from Strasburg and coming here. I went to the city, lived with my sister, and worked, and made enough money in one little summer to pay for everything my whole year.
Wow.
My tuition, my books, because I lived at home, and the tuition was $75 a quarter.
Do you know how many were in that first graduating class with you? I mean, was it a huge class? Was it less than 500?
Oh, definitely less than 500.
See, I only have today's number standards to go by. Do you think there was 100 of you?
Yes.
Okay.
I do think it was 100 because people got certificates and degrees and all. Back then the emphasis was helping students decide whether you were a 2-year occupational, technical, to get a job student, or were you a 2-year transfer to a 4-year college student. I actually said I was coming to the college to major in computers. But after the first year of them not having any computers or anything,
that makes it a little complicated.
They finally said to us, go ahead and take the business classes, the accounting and the English and math. And we took all those classes. And then it's like in the third quarter, they brought us in and said, I'm sorry, we are not going to be able to have this computer classes. We don't have the funds. We can't buy all of that equipment and everything. So many of us then had to decide, what are we going to get a degree in? So I chose accounting. Some chose business management. Some chose to go into secretarial science.
Secretarial science?
Secretarial science was the name of the degree back in 1970.
That is awesome.
I know. Isn't that funny? Then it changed to administrative assistant over the years. But because I really liked my bookkeeping classes and stuff in high school, I took accounting.
After you graduated, did you go to work at an accounting firm? Were you a bookkeeper somewhere? What did you do afterwards?
I got a job here.
At Lord Fairfax. Talk about full circle.
Yep, I did. I was fortunate to work during the summer between my freshman and sophomore years here, and I worked in the various offices, and I worked with the Dean of Finance, and he told me that they were going to have a new position called Personnel Clerk, and they hoped it was going to be here July 1st. Well, graduation that year was like June 10th or something. But then guess what? It didn't come through. So I went to the city again, worked with my sister, and was trying to decide, what am I going to do? And he kept saying, now, don't you take another job now, because we really hope this is going to happen. So it did happen, and it happened in September. So I came home and started working full-time as a personnel clerk for the Dean of Finance.
And how long were you here? Are you still here?
No. Let me just tell you in a nutshell, I was here from full-time from 1972 to 1975, got married in 74. My husband's a state trooper, so we got transferred. We went to Fauquier County, so I left in February of 75, and then he came back to this county in July of 1980. So we came back, and he went to work for the sheriff's office. I called the college and said, do you have any openings? And they said, yes. So I came back in 1980. So I was a student from 70 to 72, and then I actually got another degree in 73 because I took a few more classes and got my management degree. And then was employed from 72 to 75, and then from 1980 to 2010, and retired in March of 2010.
Do you come to alumni events now? Because I'll bet you are like the most fascinating person for people to be able to talk to that graduated even just 10 years ago.
Well, I'm definitely one of the oldest. But no, there haven't been very many alumni events. I know it's an area that the college really wants to
It's something they're trying to grow, I think.
Yes. But I did come whenever they were held. We did have some alumni events over the years, and I certainly came.
So you could be a poster child for alumni in addition to being the poster child for the very first class of students.
There have definitely been a lot more students going through this college who have been a lot more successful in their careers, who, I just think is absolutely wonderful. But this place is family. This was family for me. I grew up here. I mean, I came here when I was 18. And so it really was family in the very beginning. It was small. Everybody knew everybody. All the employees knew everybody. I mean, thank goodness it is what it is today, and it has grown. That's what we wanted. But back then, it was just a small group, and we did a lot of recruiting. We went to fairs, and we went to events to recruit students to get the word out about the community college. And then when it switched over to semester, from quarter to semester, that was a big plus. us because then it was easier to transfer to four-year colleges and all. So, and I was actually working here when all that was done.
We're going to take a quick break and come back for the rest of this conversation with Judy Rinker, a graduate of the first class of Lord Fairfax Community College, in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a Quick Money Chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We're going to continue our conversation now with Judy Rinker. She is one of the first graduates from Lord Fairfax Community College. I chatted with her at the Middletown campus several months ago as part of the podcast series that I'm doing in partnership with the college. More about that after this conversation wraps up. It had been years since I had been in this main building. I had been in the Corone Center dozens and dozens of times, but I had not been in this main part of the campus since they had renovated. And I know what it felt like to me to walk through here and go, oh my gosh, this place looks amazing, because I remembered what it did look like. What on earth does it feel like for you to be walking through this campus now compared to walking across a plank just to get into the building?
Exactly. I was working here when the Corn Center, well, it was the Alson H. Smith building when that was built, and then the Corn Center. But to see it grow, I mean, this is exactly what we wanted. I mean, we wanted it to take off and to need more space and to grow. And the Fauquier campus, too, in the Luray, Page County, I was here working. It was just so exciting to see that we had the need. But, yeah, I can't find anything here. And of course, you know, I'm so old that the people who worked with me have retired or died or something. It's so different. But thank goodness everybody's keeping up with the times, keeping up with technology and what the students really need. But it was change. And, you know, sometimes change is not accepted so well. But I think everybody here just worked so hard when we went for the computer to register students and everything. You know, it's just...
And now in the middle of this pandemic, you're doing so much of it virtually that you don't even need to come into this beautiful building.
Well, and it's perfect that the college was already set up to do a lot of that when some were not maybe as well adapted as the community colleges are to do online classes. I mean, these faculty have been doing this for so many years. It's just great to have both. But yeah, this area that we're sitting in here, actually, this is the area. This was the student lounge, and when the first day we walked in September 1970, there were no windows. They had plastic hanging down.
Talk about an open concept.
Cold, and it was cold for like months. They kept saying, "We're going to get the glass in." So you come in here and sit with your coat on, and just to have been a part of that. Like I said, it was so exciting. You're sitting in there in accounting class and you hear a knock at the door and a guy comes in, "Can I put the pencil sharpener on the wall?" And sure, class stops.
Wow.
And he does the drilling and then he walks back out. Everybody was in the same attitude that we'll do whatever it takes to get the students here and to get the classes started. Community college is different. You know, I think it's a closeness.
Unity colleges. Right. And that seems to be the underlying theme that with everybody that I talk to for this podcast series and just in general about Lord Fairfax, there's a reason that it's a community college, because it not only takes a community to bring it together, but it takes a community to keep it running and to make it be successful. Right.
And I had the fortunate in my jobs here, working in the president's office, to work with the foundation, to work with the college board, to understand the politics that goes through, to to get the funding and to pay for these things. And so I think sometimes maybe, students don't realize all the paperwork that goes through, So, but I was blessed to know that and to be able to meet those people from all over the county. And that was another thing I just wanted to mention when you said about who came in here. When I walked in here at the age of 18, I was in classes with people that some were 18, some were 30, some were 50.
Wow. So even then.
Yes. So that was very different for me because I'd gone through school with everybody the same age as me. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting in a human resources class with Mr. Duffy as a professor. And beside me is a gentleman who has worked in business for 20 years.
And is probably older than Mr. Duffy.
Exactly. And he's getting his degree. And so the diversity of the ages was so obvious in the very beginning. And for an 18-year-old, and many of those people were working full-time. There was a guy that went through accounting with us, and he went to work every day at 3 o'clock and worked till midnight. He had the evening shift, but he was coming during the day to get his accounting degree. And I just admired him so much. I thought, you have a full-time job, and you're coming here. And then we found out over the years there were people that did have full-time jobs, but still had not had the opportunity for higher education. And when the community college came,
that was their opportunity.
Here is the opportunity. Take one class at a time or whatever you can work out and learn about financial aid, learn about grants and programs and scholarships. And for somebody like me, my parents could not have afforded for me to go away to a 4-year college, and I wasn't even going to ask. I mean, I don't know who I'd be today. Don't know where I'd be or who I'd be.
How different are graduations? Are they pretty similar to how they were when you graduated versus, and I don't know that you've attended any recently, but is that kind of the same?
The basic thing hasn't changed too much, except that there are more awards and more opportunities for students to be recognized. Back when I graduated, my claim to fame with Lord Fairfax Community College is that I was the first outstanding graduate in 1972.
Everybody else had to live up to that. Was your graduation here on campus?
Right outside.
Right outside.
Yeah. We used a tent for some years just so we had a place in case it was too hot or raining. So it was a June day because the quarter system, the college didn't graduate till June because we had a fall quarter and then a winter and spring quarter. So it was a late graduation. So it's a lot more students, thank goodness. But still, we had caps and gowns. We had everything back in 72 when we graduated. We had class rings.
And to be clear, 1972, we're not talking 1932 here. 72 was still relatively modern.
I know, but
by most standards.
50 years. Goodness gracious.
It seems like a lot.
It makes me feel old. There's just been so many wonderful things. And I love it when I would see a grandchild of somebody that I went to school with coming in. And then they'd say, oh, so-and-so told me to look you up, Mrs. Rinker, because you went to school with my grandfather. It was better when they said father, but now they're saying grandfather. So it's like, okay, so it's showing my age. So unfortunately, one of the most memorable things I have here is 9/11. That was a day you just don't think about a college. Everything is happy and going well and everything. But we were 9 o'clock in the morning waiting for the chancellor to arrive. We were in the boardroom I was with the college president, Marilyn Beck.
And then do you hear it on the news? How do you guys find out?
We got a call from the chancellor's office. This is before cell phones, right?
Oh, that's true.
But the chancellor had a car phone. He got a call from his office in Richmond. He turned around and went home. And so we got a call from Richmond saying the chancellor's not coming for his lunch with you. And we had board members and everything scheduled to come, and they told us what it was. And so we went to the library and started turning on televisions. And it was the saddest day at this college, as it was everywhere. But we were here, and just to see the president's reaction and everybody is, what do we do? How do we help the students? How do we help? They took action to set up grief counseling for students and everything, and of course we closed the college. But it was But isn't it funny the certain days
that it's woven into just the fabric of your memories of this place?
Where you were, and the president and I, we walked down to the hall. They put a TV in the hall, and together she and I stood there and watched the buildings come down. And it was just it was just something you'll never forget. Yeah.
Well, and it reinforces everything that you've said to me today in that this was a family, that this was more or less like being home. And when you're in a situation like we all were on 9/11, you want to be surrounded by people that you know and that you trust and that can lend comfort to each other. And so it just kind of is relatively befitting that this is where you were on that day when that happened.
Yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, we were small, we were family, we had Christmas parties, we had baby showers, we had weddings. I mean, this world, we don't have time for all these things, but it was definitely family. And Dr. William H. McCoy, well, he was such a gentleman in that he just was so poised, and he just represented everything the college wanted.
He had it together.
He had it together. Smart man. And he knew how to treat people and his faculty and his employees, and he would come in, walk into his class and just sit down. And somebody'd say, who's the bald-headed guy? And it's like, well, that's the college president. Oh, okay.
Nice.
But yeah, just
and how ironic that then years and years later that would be Dr. Ski,
right?
That would come in and sit down, and people would say, "Who's the bald-headed guy?" No, that's the president of the college.
Yes, and I got to work with him too, and because I was in the president's office when he was hired. So
wow,
yeah. I mean, there's the change of leadership, the change of everybody, the faculty. I still see a lot of people and friends with a lot of people, but as usual, they've retired. It's 50 years, So, but we just wish everybody well when they do retire, but they kind of hang around a little bit, though. They do come back. Fairfax Follies, I'm still doing that. We try to stay in touch as much as we can, so.
Well, Judy, thank you. I mean, this has been a fantastic conversation. I have really, really enjoyed it.
Well, it's been a little history lesson.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But it's been a fun history lesson because I was born and raised in Frederick County. I'm a James Wood Colonel graduate.
Yes.
But I have never not known Lord Fairfax to be here.
Yes.
So that's why this is just so fascinating to me. And I'm a Middletown resident. I've lived in Middletown the last 15 years. So it is, for me, it's a very personal thing as well. And I'm really glad that you got to share your story with me today.
Yeah. Well, I do have one other honor that if you don't want to include it with the blog, I do understand. But I did win the hog calling contest that was here for Ag Hort Day. So if you need your hogs called, just let me know because I won the contest.
You're going to the top of that list.
Yes, and I was an employee then, not a student. And I beat all the students. So I just want you to know it was right out there. So.
Did you get a sash? Did they give you a sash or a crown or anything like that?
You know, it was so emotional. I can't remember exactly what I got. I was so overwhelmed with the honor. But anyway, a lot of clubs and a lot of fun and a lot of things happening here for the students, which I think is great now with sports and everything. It's
absolutely,
so
yeah.
We didn't get to have that yet, I mean, goodness, but it's wonderful. Well, thank you for having me.
So this has been a recorded conversation as part of our ongoing podcast series, LFCC Stories, in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. We've released over 24 conversations just like this with current and former students, with professors. You can listen to all of them in any number of ways. You can go to theriver953.com, click the podcast tab, and choose LFCC Stories. You'll find the whole list of them there. If you'd rather listen on your iPhone, simply open the podcast app. It's the little purple icon, and it comes preloaded on all iPhones. And simply search for LFCC Stories. You can subscribe for free and listen from there as well. Plus, you'll get all the new episodes as we release new conversations in the coming weeks. If you've got an Android, you can listen from the Google Podcast app found in the Google Play Store. Same process. And if you're already on Spotify, search for LFCC Stories and subscribe there to listen. Let me know what you think of the conversations. I want your feedback because it's always important to know what people think when they're listening to something new that you're trying. Tomorrow's show conversation is with Stacy Swain from Warren County 4-H. She's going to give us all the details about their Clark Warren 4-H Winterfest. So meet me back here a few minutes after noon to have a listen.